Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government. You still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? Does anybody else see a problem here?
In fact, I want to take phone calls for first-time callers today to discuss Obama's bombing of ISIS and what's really behind that, to get into the escalations in Ukraine, to get into a stack of news of more political correctness that is being deployed as an authoritarian blanket across the nation. Also, IBM has developed a functioning computer chip with 1 million neurons that, again, functions like a human brain. That's out of the Daily Mail. That integrates in with a story out of the Charlotte CBS affiliate. Report, robots will take over more jobs than they create. Yes, that's the big issue. That's how that's being set up and implemented. We're going to talk about some of the technocracy at the bottom of the hour. I said I'd get into the AI computers. I'll do that at 1 o'clock at the start of the third hour. It's so important. Remind me, guys, to do that. There's some very important news about what the robot metrics are going to do, replacing humans. That's been the plan all along, but it's now in a major government study. I will get into the technocracy. IBM develops a computer chip with 1 million neurons that functions like a human brain, and that dovetails with a new report out by the Pew Research Project and a major university with connections to DARPA, that robots will take over jobs and displace humans. Well, that's because the architecture of the new political, financial, economic structure is being built to end humans as we know it. That's on record from MIT, Stanford, Bill Joy, Google. I mean, the course has been set. That's how I know what's coming. When we have victories and hold it off, people say, oh, some of it's happening, but not all of it, as we try to hold the gate against this, as we try to build a future for humans, not a eugenics, technocracy-based system. The unwashed masses just scream, begging to be destroyed. Give us our NASCAR, give us our NFL, give us our political correctness, our MTV. Give us Barabbas. Give us our vaccines. Give us our new world order. Give it to us. We want it. There are two articles that caught my eye today. One of them is in the Daily Mail. The other is in CBS News out of Charlotte. Report, robots will take over more jobs than they create. And this is a new Pew Research, 1,800 industry experts by the Pew Research Internet Project and the Elon University Imaging the Internet Center. And a large percentage, 48%, had direct fears that the role of artificial workers will be unstoppable and that humans will not be able to adjust in time to avoid massive unemployment and social disruption. Here is another one. IBM develops a computer chip with 1 million neurons that functions like a human brain. IBM has developed a computer chip which it says will function like a human brain, and a giant step forward for artificial intelligence. True North is being hailed as the world's first neurosynaptic computer chip because it can figure things out on its own. The chip also has 1 million neurons and could cram the same power as a supercomputer into the circuit the size of a postage stamp. Now, let's talk about that. It's a very complex issue, obviously, but here's an example of technology innovating things and being good. Uber started 4 or 5 years ago. I want to do a whole report on it this week. We're going to get on that and get it done. Where you can use an app and you only order it when you want it, and the Uber cab shows up on average in about 5 minutes in major cities, and I found it's a better experience than the average cab. Now, some cities are smart and the cabs opt into it. Other cities, they're trying to ban it. These associations of cabbies, because they want to run their same old system instead of adapting to it. And governments don't like it because they can't tax it and can't control it, and they're trying to block it. So, of course, it's an innovation where a nice black car comes and gets you, There's not, it's all set and computerized, the meter, and you can give them a tip on the computer if you want on your smartphone. That's an example of an innovation, a renaissance by freeing things up and smashing monopolies. And, of course, the power structure is trying to block it. On the other side, you've got Google coming in with their driverless cars and others, where they're already arguing, oh, it's safer than humans, even though they're having wrecks all the time and driving the wrong side down the road. And these things will be used by the insurance companies. Well, always said will be. Now they're doing it. To say, we need new systems on your car that take control when you're driving bad, or track what you've done, or instantly report back wirelessly to the police. No, we shouldn't, as consumers, allow products that surveil us with a predatory system. We, with our buying habits, should say no to those products before it becomes mandatory, which they're already trying to push. Smart meters, I told you 15 years ago, would control the temperature in your house, would game the algorithms and increase your prices. Now they've been caught from Austin, Texas to San Francisco, California, doing it. It's not that a smart meter, it would be bad. It's that a bad system gave you the Trojan horse. People who have bad will built it. It's very simple. It's like if you had a renter renting a room from you, you don't want to rent it to a person that's got 14 convictions. You don't want to open the door to Count Dracula with big fangs when he asks to come in. I mean, this is a bad new world order. So basically anything they give us may have some good applications, but it's Trojan horse run and has back doors, and there's a reason they gave it to us that isn't good in the big equation. Can we hack it? Can we jailbreak it? Can we end up using these little devil phones for good things? Can I shoot a YouTube video on it or a live feed and expose the police state with it? Yeah, but in the next version, they now hit a button where smartphone apps don't work. I happen to be downtown last week when they had a Palestinian Gaza demonstration of about 1,000 people. And I walked out of a restaurant to go film it and to do a live feed, and guess what? My phone would not work. I had a friend with me. Their Apple iPhone as well would not live stream and would not upload. And I saw Austin cops on rooftops. I don't need to check. I know. They were with the feds testing a jamming system. And I went home and Googled it. Sure enough, they're using jamming systems all over the country, and they have the patents, and it's already gone into the new Apples and Droids to hit one button at the Threat Fusion Center and disable phones in certain grids. So you're now going to have to buy a vintage camera. Just like all the new cameras have GPS already built into them, even $200 cameras, that's actually a chip to turn your phone off, your camera off.
We're on the march.
See, folks?
The Empire's on the run.
This is a premeditated, evil
Alex Jones
takeover.
and the GCN Radio Network.
It's incredible. Now you go to a concert, they turn your phone off.
Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government. You still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? Does anybody else see a problem here? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they so afraid to answer a few questions? This story does not add up.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The title of this report is A Satirist's Dream, Closing the Gap Between Anti-Corruption Law and Reality. I could fill my 60 seconds talking about the 18 years' worth of unaudited accounts, or the bazillions that are squandered on agriculture and foreign aid boondoggles, or the Tillack case where instead of any of the alleged fraudsters being arrested, it was the journalist trying to find out about them who found himself banged up by the police. I could talk about the £6.6 million spent last year by European commissioners simply on entertainment and luxury gifts and hotels. I could talk about the wonderful spectacle of President Van Rompuy and Commissioner Ashton flying to the same meeting in Russia in separate private jets, leaving Brussels within 4 hours of each other. Instead, I'll confine myself to saying this. These things happen not because the EU attracts particularly bad people. I mean, of course, it attracts some bad people. Man is fallen, and like all institutions, it contains those who give in to temptation. It happens rather because there is no link between taxation, representation and expenditure at Brussels level. It was Milton Friedman who said there's two kinds of money in the world. There's your money and there's my money. The trouble is that in the EU, it's all your money. Hence negligence, corruption, fraud, and what we see before us today.
Mr. Co-President Nigel Farage, Freedom and Democracy.